When it comes to YouTube, what you see on camera is only one small piece of the bigger picture of being a content creator. So today, I wanted to bring you along on a real, raw, and honest look at a day in the life of a full-time YouTuber. Let's take a look at what it's really like and what most YouTubers don't show you. Let's get the day started.
Let's meet down at the lonely lake before summer has gone away. Swim out under a broken sky.
Good morning. I feel like even though there are a number of day in the life of a full-time YouTuber or full-time content creator up on YouTube, I feel like there's still parts of the sometimes mundane, sometimes very average life of a YouTuber that haven't really been exposed yet. So I'm gonna show you what it's really like on one of my work days where I am primarily just working on YouTube stuff. I don't normally do my makeup here, but this lighting is way better than in my bathroom, so we're gonna do that today. So I guess the first thing you should know is that I'm not exactly strictly a full-time YouTuber. I mean, it's what takes up a lot of my time, but not all of it, like not 100%. If you've been following me for a while, then you probably know that I also have an agency, a social media content creation agency called Creatorly, and that also takes up some time in my week, though I'm getting to a kind of new balance point that I'm really liking, where my team is just like empowered to do the work, use their expertise, and I help with the business development, the long-term visioning, the marketing especially. But yeah, otherwise I'm working on my YouTube channel a lot more than I used to, which I'm really enjoying. This past little while I've been giving myself pretty big to-do lists, but thankfully today I think I've got a reasonable amount of work to do, including editing a video, which I'll show you some of the behind the scenes of in case you're curious how I approach editing my videos. And then later on today, I'm going to meet up with a van life friend of mine, and we're gonna do some business brainstorming stuff. She's also a content creator. I'll be honest, part of why I'm making this vlog today is because I had such a kind reception to the last one. If you watched my week in the life as a content creator who lives in a van video and left a comment, I really appreciate you. It really like re-inspired me to kind of do the vlog format again. I really love this style of video. I really love watching this style of video. It just is fun to make it. So it really means a lot to me that y'all liked it. Like seriously, I was expecting that video to completely tank and get like 10 out of 10, like by a huge margin, but it actually performed as usual. It was kind of in my top half. So that's really cool. I'm like, me? A vlogger? Could it be? You know, I'm always gonna still share the social media tips. It's what I do. It's my job. You know, I like consuming the content from the lifestyle girly, so that's what I'm gonna make on the side. Good old bronzer for eyeshadow. I don't think I've worn proper eyeshadow in years. Also, I normally do my makeup in the bathroom, where I was saying the lighting isn't as good, and I feel like this is kind of a come to Jesus moment for me, because I'm like, this is what my makeup looks like every day? Ooh, whoops. I guess that's it. I guess that's what I'm gonna look like. All right, let's go to work. First though, this desk is a complete disaster zone after all my filming yesterday, so I gotta put some of this gear away. So I've just opened my laptop. We are ready to start the day. Here's a look at what my list looks like, my little to-do list in Notion. The biggest things that I have on for today are really editing my YouTube video and recording a podcast episode. This is looking like a lighter day, which I'm excited about because I am going to go meet up with a friend later. I normally like to start my day off by checking Instagram, posting a story if I have something to post, because I find that my story performance is just going to be better if I start earlier in the day. Okay, perfect. We can check post Instagram story off the list. So I thought you might find this interesting just in terms of the admin of being a content creator. I'm not going to show you all the details because some of these are I don't know, private banking information, and then I'm not going to put that on camera. But just if you're curious about how the process of working with brands works. So I posted a sponsored YouTube video yesterday. The brand just came through with an email asking for an invoice, all this stuff, so that I can actually get paid for it. So that's awesome. So now I'm putting together an email with all of the required information, and I just think it's surprising how long some of this stuff takes. A lot of people don't realize how much time YouTubers spend sending out documents and tax information and all of this stuff. I mean, maybe some creators have somebody do this for them, but I still have my hands on the wheel, so I am doing this all for myself. But basically, this is what the email that I'm sending over to this brand entails. First of all, I'm just sending them initial performance insights. So I'm oh, look, this video is in my top 4 out of 10 videos. That's looking really good. I'll report back later with more detailed insights after the video's been out for a week. But this just gives them an initial look at performance, which I think is nice to do. Then I have to send them over my basically bank information so they can wire me a payment. This doesn't always happen though. A lot of times I'll just get paid via PayPal, which even though I do lose a bit of money on because of the PayPal fees, I kind of prefer because it's so much easier to just send them an email address than to write out all this information, but whatever. And then finally, I also need to send them my W-8 Ben form, which if you're Canadian, you might be familiar with, but basically it's just a tax form that you have to provide to US companies if you're doing brand deals for them. So anyway, all of this stuff I never would have known a couple of years ago when I hadn't started doing brand deals yet, but it's the kind of thing that you just figure out as you go. You eventually start to realize the patterns in what brands are always asking for, and then I kind of have stuff prepared. So I have an invoice format that I always use, and I've got my W-8 Ben form always ready to go, that kind of thing. So anyway, this might have been the most boring segment ever, but I think it's interesting to know some of the behind the scenes. It's not just about scripting and filming and editing videos and all that fun stuff. Here's a quick tip for you if you are like me, spending a lot of time sending emails to brands and it can all get a little bit overwhelming. I have a brand partnerships database that I built out in Notion. So every time that I have an email interaction with a brand, I just pull it up and make notes about what we talked about. So in this case, the brand just asked me about boosting, if they could essentially advertise to my Facebook audience using the content that I make for them. So I kind of provided the rates on that. So I'm just going to make a note, asked about Facebook boosting. In addition to my notes about whatever the last interaction we had was, I also always note down the publish date that I'm planning on. And then I also have status markers that indicate whether we're currently negotiating or if the brand deal's in progress or if I've sent the invoice and all that stuff. If you feel like this kind of thing might be helpful to you, I actually included this in my Notion content creator bundle, which is for sale on my website. It's basically a bundle of a ton of different Notion templates that are essential to my work as a content creator, including the content calendar, the brand partnerships database, affiliate marketing links organizer, and a few other things too. So anyway, I'll link that in the description if you think it might be helpful. I don't know how I would keep track of all my brand deal info without this.
There's a lot to see, a lot to do.
Okay, I've been editing for I guess about an hour now, and I am currently 2 minutes into this video, but this has been like a really intensive edit so far because I kind of tell the story of my like journey on YouTube in just like the first 45 seconds really, and I wanted to show a lot of B-roll of me along that journey, so it took a long time to just like gather all of the different clips that I wanted to show. But anyway, it's lunchtime now, so we're gonna go take a lunch break and we'll dive back in to the editing, and maybe I'll tell you a little bit more about my process after this commercial break.
I've been dreaming of this moment, hoping for something real, for something real. Way back.
No, I don't like to see this. Okay, good. It seems to have sorted itself out, but man, that is the last thing any video editor ever wants to see is Premiere crashing. All right, it's 2 o'clock and I have finished editing this video. Honestly, it would have taken forever if I would have actually walked you through step by step of how I put this edit together, but I thought now we could look at the timeline together and I could just show you sort of the overall structure of my typical YouTube edit and some of the things that I do to try to increase my watch time, like increase my viewer retention, aka just make the videos better and more engaging. Okay, so this is my Premiere timeline. So you can kind of see from this more like zoomed out point of view that it's really front loaded. And what I mean by that is these three, well, I guess these two like video one and audio one lines, that's just what I would call A-roll. So basically clips like this of me just talking to the camera, like making my points. And then anything above or below that is kind of the additional stuff that makes the video more spicy. These lines above are where there's extra video clips or graphics or titles or whatever, and then these green bars here, those are audio clips, so it's music, or on the lower level, sound effects or sort of environmental sound. So like I was saying, it's quite front loaded. That's where a lot of the extra clips are, and the reason why I do this is, yes, ideally would the entire timeline be really, you know, snappy and have tons of B-roll and have tons of visuals, sure. But being realistic here, as somebody who is trying to crank out 2 videos a week, I can't necessarily make the entire thing like really heavy laden with all this extra bells and whistles. But what I can do is put the work into making the very beginning of the video as interesting and attention grabbing as possible, so that hopefully people will make it to at least like this 6-minute mark where you can see it kind of starts to drop off. And if you make it to that point, you're probably invested enough in just like the value that I'm providing to watch through to the end. So yeah. Also, if there were places where it was like necessary to add extra visuals in the end, I would do that. It's not like I have a rule against that. It's just I'm putting most of my effort into the first half, if we're being honest. If we zoom in a little bit further, you can see especially the intro, like up until the minute mark, I have a ton of different clips. I started out with just like B-roll of past me on YouTube because I'm kind of telling the story of my YouTube journey. That took a lot of time to dig up all that old footage, but I think it's really worth it. And of course I've added some cinematic, like emotional sounding music to the background to really sell the story. And then we get into present day Katie going on a bit of a walk to get coffee. And I like to include these kind of sequences as just like a transition point to kind of keep the video moving forward, and it just feels a little bit more dynamic than just sitting at my desk the whole time. I mean, I do go between different scenes, even in my house. If we like move ahead, you can see here I'm in my like hammock swing, here I'm on the couch, and then later I'm back at the desk again. But I think it just kind of adds something to show a little like day in the life kind of moment, even though I'm not at all talking about the fact that I'm going to get coffee in this sequence. It's just very obvious as you walk through. Okay, like I grab my little takeaway cup at some point, and then, you know, I'm walking and talking to the camera in some of these clips. And then, you know, there's some more just like forward motion in the story here, me walking, and then actually like picking up the coffee and then walking home with it later. Anyway, it's not at all connected to like the story of me being a YouTuber, but I think it just makes the video a little bit more dynamic. And then as we go, I've got, you know, screenshots where it makes sense, but also titles, because I like to kind of break up my videos into parts sometimes to kind of hammer home what the, I don't know, thesis or like the reason behind these sections are. And then it also just makes it really easy for me later to add time codes to the description when I have these very obvious labels for myself. Anyway, that's a little behind the scenes of my YouTube video. I'm gonna go ahead and export this now, and then I'm gonna dive in and work on the thumbnail and the description, and hopefully getting it uploaded before I have to leave, but we'll see. Okay, I edited some thumbnails. Yeah, it took some time, but kind of in a rush. Just need to run them through Lightroom with my YouTube presets so that I can kind of see how they would look. And then in just like a couple minutes here, I need to run to go meet up with Tara at the library. By the way, these are the two thumbnails that I came up with. I need to text them to Shelby and get her opinion on them. I think I'm leaning towards the one, but I don't know if it's a good concept or not. So anyway, that's part of my process for sure, is like designing multiple thumbnails, because it's really all about the thumbnail. It needs to be good. And I'm home. What a day it's been. Somehow I always think I'm gonna get more stuff done than I actually can. But for the most part, I did complete my to-do list. I did end up moving the podcast recording to tomorrow though, because there wasn't time today. But it was really great to see Tara and yeah, work at the library for a little bit. So that is just one day in my life as a full-time YouTuber and content creator. Hopefully it gave you a glimpse into what this work looks like. If you have any questions or would like to see more of my process in a future video, definitely let me know. I did gather questions on my Instagram story, but I ran out of time today to answer them, so I'm sure I will make another vlog like this in the future, answering some of those questions that y'all submitted. So thanks for watching. As always, I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in the next video. Oh, and let me know if you want to see more vlogs like this, or if you want just more like tips and advice videos, okay? Okay, all right, bye.